Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Medwell Unscripted, Florida Style. My name is April, and I'm with Medwell Health and Wellness. We are your MMJ specialists here in Florida, and I'm really excited because today we're going to be talking about terpenes and kind of what they are and how they affect your wellness. And we have some great guests with us today. It's going to be a wonderful conversation. And just some kind of housekeeping, I'm going to say shout out to Kayla from Medwell, who's in the chat, and she'll be sharing some links and welcoming you into our conversation today. And if you are catching the replay, please do leave a comment because we will absolutely get back to you. So let's get started. First, I'm going to start off with introducing you to Nicole Stewart, our Community Outreach Director here at Medwell. Hey, Nicole.
Hey, good morning, everybody. So I'm Nicole. I'm the Community Outreach Director for Medwell Health and Wellness here in Sarasota, St. Petersburg, and Bradenton. Basically, I get to go out and meet dispensary employees, patients out in the field, visiting with oncology, different specialists, orthopedics, and just let them know about the incredible benefits of medical cannabis and how it can improve patient lives. So we try to get involved in community events and really spread the word about Medwell, connect with the dispensaries, and let our patients know the great options available in different like terpenes, how terpenes matter, which we'll learn today from this group, and help educate our patients.
Awesome. And we're really excited to have Trulieve, their team here today. Not only are they expanding in Florida, but they're actually coming into Massachusetts as well, which we have offices in Massachusetts. So we're really excited about today. I'm going to start with Jacody Swor, who is the Community Outreach Coordinator there. And Jacody, why don't you say hello and a little bit about yourself?
Hey, everybody. Hey, Medwell Unscripted. Thanks for having us today. We're really excited to be here. My name is Jacody Swor. I'm coming to you live from Sarasota also. I cover areas in Florida from South Pinellas County down to Northport. Thanks for having us.
Awesome. And next up is our team lead, Klaus Alfaro. How are you, Klaus?
Hey, guys. Thank you for having us. Good morning. I'm also one of the community educators for Trulieve here in Florida. And I work with all the doctors in Florida. So if you guys need anything, we're happy to have you here, and looking forward onto this talk.
Awesome. And last but not least, Alex Ford, who is another community outreach coordinator with Trulieve.
Yeah. Hey, guys. How's it going? Thanks for having us. My name's Alex. I cover most of Central Florida, I guess, on the west side. So I've got some big areas like Tampa, North Pinellas, and then kind of like the Lakeland area. But yeah, hopefully this is going to be a very informative conversation, and looking forward to see where it goes.
Awesome. You know what? I just want, if one of you wants to jump in and just give a little brief description about Trulieve and kind of, because you have many locations, but kind of the areas that you cover. So we cover Florida, but you're opening a new location, and I want to share with our audience as well.
Sure, I'll take that one. We are Trulieve. We're the first and the largest medical marijuana treatment center in Florida. We have expanded out to 6 other states at this point. We just got into Connecticut, California, Massachusetts. We are also getting, sorry, I'm kind of losing my thought here. What other 2 states are we in, guys?
Pennsylvania. Okay.
Pennsylvania,
awesome.
And I believe West Virginia is the final piece there. But yeah, we're expanding rapidly. We're really excited. We have now, I think, our 67th store in Florida. So we got a good footprint. We're happy to be here.
Awesome. And one of the things that we are excited to have you is they are super smarty pants on terpenes. And one of our biggest philosophies at Medwell is education. And these guys really know their stuff. So make sure you ask questions along the way. And I'm going to start with kind of what is a terpene? And, we have lots of patients that come in that are of all age demographics, right? So we have young to senior citizens. And a lot of times they actually have not a lot of information about what different products there are, especially what a terpene is. It's kind of a foreign term and terpenoid, right? So one of you, I'll let you kind of all share. I know you guys have, I've pre-prepared you with the questions, so I'm going to let you guys take it away of whoever's going to answer that for us.
Yeah, I'll also take that one. So a terpene or terpenoid is more of the flavor profile. So between terpenoids or terpenes and the flavonoids. That kind of creates almost the flavor of what a strain would be. So that creates the strain uniqueness coupled with the cannabinoid profile. So what we like to focus on when it comes to a strain is not just the name that's attached to it, but the cannabinoid profile, which is the THC, the CBD, the CBGs, THCVs, the whole 120 cannabinoids that are in cannabis, as well as those terpenes. The terpenes have their own therapeutic benefits. They're a natural compound found in plants and some insects, and cannabis has 200 plus terpenes in the plant itself. So each one of those strains, each one of those different genetics have its own unique profile of terpenes and cannabinoids and flavonoids. So really that's what categorizes it, between an indica, hybrid, and sativa.
And so you mentioned that terpenes, there's lots of different types of terpenes. Can you kind of just go over a few of them and kind of their terms that fall under the terpene kind of line of things?
Yeah, we like to focus on the top terpenes. Obviously, there's going to be more prevalent ones than others, especially depending on what category that strain is in. We do test for, I believe, 11 different terpenes in the plant when we do our in-house and our third-party lab testing. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about myrcene, apinine, limonene, humulene, linalool, and caryophyllene.
All right, and I'm going to let you take it away and start with myrcene.
Sure, myrcene. Myrcene's a great, very prevalent terpene. It's works in synergy with THC. This terpene is ideal for patients suffering from sleep disorders like insomnia, pain and bodily discomfort. It acts as a powerful muscle relaxant. It's good for patients with diabetes, or it also has been found to have the ability to inhibit tumor growth in cancer. So a lot of these terpenes have great effects outside of just the flavors they provide. It's also a significant analgesic, which is blocked by the action of naloxone. I'm reading, but it's great. I think most of the strains that are dominant in myrcene, I think the 0.5% is really what determines if it's an indica or not. So these are the more sedative effects, more of those pain relieving effects, generally for nighttime use, but it's going to be different for each patient.
Awesome. Do you guys have anything to add on that?
Yeah, definitely. Myrcene is probably, I think the most known terpene, maybe outside of linalool, but like Jacody was saying, it does determine whether a strain is going to have predominantly indica effects or sativa effects. So indica nighttime, indica couch, sativa more uplifting. So like I said, under that 0.5%, then you should get predominantly sativa effects, and over it, indica effects. And the myrcene is most commonly found in mangoes. So that's kind of a fun fact there. And also, you eat a mango before you medicate with your cannabis, that can also enhance those effects as well. So, kind of interesting stuff to keep in mind there.
That is an interesting
fun fact. I love mangoes.
Who doesn't, right?
Yeah, it's also found in musk and cloves, a lot of herbs and citrus as well. So thyme, lemongrass, bay leaves, that's all myrcene dominant.
Interesting. All right. How about limonene? Limonene. Right. I might be saying it incorrectly.
It's okay. That's all right. We're all learning here. It's actually pronounced limonene, like limousine.
Limonene. Okay. All right.
It's a citrus oil extracted from fruits mostly. It comes, it's actually bound in the rinds of fruit. So it's that real citrusy flavor, very distinct. It's one of the most common terpenes found in nature. It's been shown to possess anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, anti-stress, anti-anxiety, gastric reflux, antifungal, and possibly disease-preventing properties. It's ideal for those suffering from obesity in some cases. The scent of limonene has been shown to significantly reduce the appetite in blowflies.
Interesting.
Some studies have shown, and stomach ulcers as well. In a study in rats, citrus Aurantium oil, which is 97% limonene, protected nearly all the rodents against ulcers caused by medication use. So those are the strains that are definitely, you know, they're citrusy. The sativa dominants like Jack Herrera, Super Lemon Haze, Paradise Wait, Green Crack, Sour Diesel. In the indica varieties, more Northern Hash Plant, which we have in several varieties.
Interesting. So do they smell, does it actually have a smell, a citrusy smell?
Yeah, exactly. And that smell that you're, you know, experiencing usually comes from a terpene or flavonoid. So, you know, the citrus, lemons, oranges, those all have high amounts of limonene in it. Citrus rinds, juniper, peppermint as well. And this is good for, you know, elevated mood, stress relief, and relaxation.
Awesome. And what else is on your list there? I know you have quite a few.
Yeah, we're moving right along. So A-pinene is another one. Pinene is like pine trees, pine sol, that kind of scent, that kind of, you know, pine needles, conifers, sage. It's very, very dominant when it comes to the flavor profile. It's good for memory retention and alertness. It's also one of the most common cannabis terpenes that carries a distinct, you know, the scent of a bouquet almost. You guys have anything else to add on that one?
Not on that one specifically, but just kind of want to throw the general idea out there that there, you know, is a pattern here where, you know, once you start to notice sativa strains are generally going to have more of those stimulating, uplifting terpenes that are, you know, found in invigorating or uplifting body washes, just like indica strains that are more relaxing. Those are going to have more of those terpenes and scents that are more calming, like linalool that comes from lavender. So, you know, as this talk goes on and as you start to kind of tie those in with certain strains, then those effects really start to come forth. So it's not just the myrcene that contributes to the sativa and indica effects. Obviously, all the terpenes have their own benefits and effects as well. So just I want to keep that in mind.
Yeah, it's also,
I want to add just to keep it in mind.
Kind of breaking up.
Yeah, we're kind of losing you, Klaus. But I was just going to add, it's a great bronchodilator. So it aids in respiratory issues such as asthma. And it's also aiding in short-term memory loss and COPD.
Interesting.
Some of those
people that do have that specific diagnosis, like you said, asthma, and how it acts as a bronchodilator, would that be that one main component, like it looks like an asthma inhaler that they can actually use for that?
Yeah, we don't actually have an asthma inhaler type device. As far as that specific terpene goes, though, it's going to help. You know, any of those strains with more dominant A-pinene is going to, you know, studies have shown it's going to help those you know, the bronchodilators, that asthma restriction. Some of those strains, though, that we carry are like Jack Herrera, White Buffalo, and Sour Diesel, and also Blue Dream.
Okay. We actually have a question from Jonathan. Who determines which profiles are grown and sold?
That's a great question. We have a really complex R&D department, so that's kind of kept away from our knowledge base. Those guys are scientists. They're
top secret.
Yeah, I mean, proprietary information, but you know, they're obviously looking into yield versus you know, potency, things like that, depending on what the goal is. You know, higher CBD strains are obviously great for the ratios and those extraction processes. Plus, it depends on what the end product is going to be. So some strains are better for you know, oil extraction, where other strains are good as, you know, flower, you know, premium flower, like our cultivar collection that we just came out with. So yeah, it just kind of depends.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right. So, and what is next on your list for terpenes?
Next, I have caryophyllene or beta caryophyllene. It's a primary terpene contributing to the spiciness of black pepper. It's also a major constituent of cloves, hops, rosemary, copaiba, and cannabis. It's one of the first cannabis-derived compounds other than THC, CBD, and CBN shown to bind directly to the endocannabinoid receptors. importantly, it's been shown to be orally bioavailable. Therefore, it would provide an important medicinal benefit to oral cannabis preparations, which is a really important fact.
Interesting. So hops, the hops is in beer, correct?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, very, very similar. And sometimes you open a beer and you kind of smell some cannabis in the room. That's probably has to do with the beta caryophyllene.
That's a good association. I'll remember that.
Some studies have shown that it's good for colitis, osteoarthritis, diabetes, anxiety and depression, liver fibrosis, and even Alzheimer's-like diseases.
That's amazing. And, you know, the more research that's done for those specific disease, especially Alzheimer's, that's huge.
Well, and I think one of the things too is that this is a perfect conversation of people don't necessarily realize really the medicinal effects that cannabis really can have, and you know, and terpenes, really those different ones that you're talking about they're hyper focused on certain conditions and all the testing because it's been around for so long and it's natural. You know, I mean. Pharmaceutical companies will get angry for me for saying this, but you know, I mean, the more natural, the better it is for your body and your, you know, everything, your whole well-being. So, what else do you have?
Yeah. And I just wanted to touch base. You said that you know, most people don't realize that they do have strains just specifically for suppressing appetite. So for weight loss. That's something new. A lot of people, even people that I've known that have used cannabis, had no idea that those strains exist to suppress appetite. It's not only an appetite stimulant, but they have strains to also decrease appetite. So I think that's great for healthcare wise. You know, if you want to lose weight and investigate more and reach out to Trulieve and find out some more information, that's wonderful.
Yeah, and the more that the science involves and the industry involves, you know, we're going to find out more about these, more therapeutic effects that they have. Even isolating some of these cannabis-derived cannabinoids will be able to, you know, in hopes have different options for weight loss and things like that. It's not all about the munchies, right?
Right.
That's encouraging.
I seem to like the munchie ones, though.
And what else is on your list? So I think we talked about 4, right? So do you have number 5?
We also have linalool. Linalool is an interesting one as well. Linalool is a naturally occurring terpene found in cannabis, many flowers, and spice plants. The scent is floral with a hint of spiciness, a lot like lavender. So when you smell that lavender smell, probably a dominant linalool effect you're getting in your body. It has a lot of commercial applications, so you see it in a lot of soaps and shampoos and hand creams, but it's because of those relaxing effects that it has. It's anti-inflammatory, it's sedative, it's a painkiller, antidepressant, and anti-anxiety. It's been shown to help with Alzheimer's disease, antimicrobial, improve sleep, and reduces anxiety and stress. So a couple of strains that we have that are linalool dominant are going to be Do-Si-Do or Skittles.
I like the names.
I like that. And so, Jacody, how does it correlate back to products? So you talk about terpenes, and you know, how does it kind of fit into determining right products for patients? And I know we'll get into some of the other topics that we discussed, but I think it'd be helpful to kind of tie that in.
Yeah, and I'd say, you know, after talking with your physician and getting their recommendation, you can kind of take that information where in this state, they'll kind of determine whether, you know, a certain route, whether it's inhalation, whether it's, you know, an oral, whether it's sublingual, as well as they're going to determine whether it's a high THC or low THC, and then they're going to choose those amount of milligrams in each of those categories. So once we have that information on hand, or once the patient comes into the store, we'll be able to kind of determine what the physician was really trying to recommend as far as strains go. We'll work with the patient on what their lifestyle is like. You know, say it's an older patient who watches their grandchildren throughout the day. They probably shouldn't be too sedated whatsoever. So, you know, we want to work with the lifestyle of the patient. We want to work with them on their education. So to determine what they specifically want, it's kind of, I don't want to say trial and error, but it really is dependent on the patient themselves, their lifestyle, and what their ultimate goal is. So, you know, to determine whether they're going to go into an uplifting, if they want more uplifting effects or if they want more sedative and, help with their sleep, we have to kind of determine what's best for them.
Awesome. Awesome. So let's talk a little bit about.
And this isn't a one size fits all kind of program. Oh, sorry. I was just going to say that it's not a one size fits all kind of thing. There is a learning curve, and patients do need to kind of get some experience and then relay that back so we can help them, go forward and help develop that regimen with the right strains. That's going to be perfect for them, but everyone reacts a little bit differently. So unfortunately, it is a little tough for a new patient to just walk in and, have us find the perfect thing for them. It does take a little bit for them to, kind of, I guess, learn how to fish, since we can't really just hand them the fish. So, but we do our best, and with just a little bit of feedback, we can really guide them into the right direction.
Yeah, and that was the whole idea behind our exchange program too. We pioneered an exchange program where a patient, will feel much more comfortable purchasing a Trulieve product if they have the option to come back and exchange it for something different. If it's not
interesting.
Even if they use it, like try it, don't like it, they can bring it back and exchange it for something different. Oh, that's great to know. Because, I find a lot of patients, including myself, I mean, you're lucky if you go in as a new patient and buy a couple of products and you found your magic potion, right?
Exactly.
I mean, usually, and that's why the dispensaries offer such great new patient discounts. And that helps them, okay, let me try this. Because I know some people may get a little bit more paranoid with, indica, when usually that relaxes you. Everybody reacts differently. It's like Benadryl, hyper to sleep. So it's a little bit of trial and error, but it doesn't take long to find what works for you. And the great thing is it's instantaneous. You'll know within, a day how it makes you feel. So that's wonderful.
Why don't you tell us a little bit more about the exchange program? So is there a time frame that they try it and then it has to be returned within 30 days, and how does that work?
No, this is really the craziest thing I think about Trulieve that, kind of goes a little bit under the radar. Whether even we have patients that find products that they may have, lost it, they dropped it rolled under the couch or under the bed, and they bring it back after the expiration date, and we're still able to swap that out for a new product that is, not expired. So, we also know that this can be a little bit of an expensive program to get started in, especially when you're, still trying to figure out what works and what doesn't for you, because you've already had to pay for your card, you've had to pay for your state registration, and then you have to go in and you have to buy products. And, none of this is covered by insurance. It's all out of pocket. Yes, there's discounts, but, tough. And it makes a huge difference for patients to not have to shoulder the financial burden of, finding out what works and what doesn't. Because like you said, it's pretty rare that the first visit inside a dispensary, you're going to find, a product that's a home run. So it does take time, and we just want to help as much as we can. And it's an awesome program.
Love that you put your patients first like that. That's huge. I love that.
Yeah, I also, if I can, I wanted to add that we rolled out a new program for virtual consultations. So it's a free service. The patients can book a virtual consultation on our website. But they can have a 30-minute block of time with one of our certified consultants in the store. They can take their time and go over an intake form even that we provide that can kind of guide that virtual consultation to find out exactly what the patient's looking for. And then, we can really gear it towards them and customize a nice, virtual consultation where they can stay home and do it from their computer. And then so they'll be ready and prepared for that first purchase, which they should be feeling comfortable anyway, because they'll be able to exchange that product if it's not right for them.
Nice. And that's huge, especially during this pandemic time. We offer telemedicine appointments too. And we found that, people really appreciate that opportunity to do a consultation. I mean, we have consultations too. So that's huge. All right, let's talk a little bit about kind of cannabis-derived terpenes versus the botanical. Kind of what's the difference, and what do people need to be mindful of when they're looking at products?
Sure. Well, obviously, there's cannabis-derived terpenes. There's also botanical terpenes. There's, I believe, fruit terpenes as well. I mean, there's so many terpenes in nature. You can kind of derive that and extract them from many different things. The pros of the cannabis derived terpenes are that there's 200 of them in each, cannabis plant generally. When extracting the terpenes from cannabis, you can retain all of the terpenes. that strain contains. So you can almost if you retain those terpenes and reintroduce them, which we do in our CO2 products, you'll be able to get those exact cannabis-derived terpenes reintroduced. Whereas our basic True Clear is going to be the botanical terpenes reintroduced. But a couple more pros on the cannabis derived is that it allows that oil to be flavored almost identical to the plant from which it was extracted. And some of those purists believe that it's more natural to get the natural version of what was in the plant. But it is a lot of the time a taste preference too. Some of those cannabis derived terpenes aren't as flavorful than some of the botanical terpenes. So I've heard on both ends, some people prefer botanical terpenes over cannabis derived and vice versa.
Yeah, and adding to that, I think a lot of it too is with the botanical terpene blends, like those are somewhat proprietary, right? I mean, if you go to Leafly, you can see terpene breakdowns of certain strains, right? And we can recreate that with botanical terpenes, but it's obviously not going to be, like Jacody said, exactly like the flavor of the strain. But what it will provide is consistency. So we don't have to grow the flower to produce that strain. If we use the botanical terpenes, we can recreate it and make sure that it's always on the shelf as long as we have, distillate. So it's one of those things where some patients, like you said, they prefer the botanical terpenes. They have a, more, I wouldn't say it's more of a less cannabis flavor. You kind of lose some of that skunkiness or some of that, some of those like real skunky notes. But a lot of people, like you said, the purists, they want that flavor. They want that single source terpene profile that has, many more terpenes than just the couple that we use to recreate the strains, because we use the most predominant ones. But of course, there's over 200 terpenes. A lot of these we, maybe haven't even discovered yet or isolated, so that's why, theoretically you would get more of the entourage effect, more medicinal compounds from the cannabis derived profiles, but the botanical blends, they do provide some upside, and they, pretty much can always stay stocked on the shelf.
Awesome. So I thought it was interesting when you shared that you mentioned about lab testing. So last week on our MedWell Unscripted in Massachusetts, we actually had MCR Labs, which is, we had a scientist on and had a conversation about kind of the testing and what goes into it. And clearly Massachusetts kind of requirements, there's differences between Mass and Florida. So why don't you talk a little bit about kind of the lab testing and the reporting and what people need to be mindful of?
Sure. Well, in this state, they just required over the summer, actually, that all dispensaries have to be third-party lab tested. Trulieve has, from the get-go, from 2016, both internally and third-party tested all of our products. So we've been doing this since the beginning. We have 1,000 square foot state-of-the-art CGMP certified lab in-house, nearly a dozen qualified trained lab technicians. And that third-party lab test is testing for 39 different terpenes. They're testing for 11 cannabinoids, and they're testing for 35 pesticides. 0 finished products have ever failed those tests and made it to the shelves. They're GMP certified, so we take it very seriously. Not only do we do the lab testing in-house and third-party since the beginning, but we also provide the lab results to the patients. You can look that up at trulieve.com/discover/product test search. You would look up your batch number, which is on each of the individual products, and you would plug that batch number into that search, and you'll get the full test results, which is about 6 pages of packed full information on that cannabinoid profile, that terpene profile. So you can really find out not just the name of your strain or what it was derived from, but you can actually find out the science behind it and create that profile for yourself if it's something that you want to stick to. You can find a couple different strains that are similar to it.
Well, and I bet that gives patients peace of mind in some way, whether or not they choose to look at it, because it's just knowing that you're transparent about kind of what's tested and what's in their product that they're using. So that's awesome. So one of the things you said, CGMP, what does that stand for? Because I don't know if everybody knows what those requirements are and kind of those acronyms.
It's good manufacturing practice certified.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Awesome.
but they are CLIA certified. You know, like the lab test ACS Labs is one of the most state of the art labs we have in the state, and you know we've been using them since the get go.
Very cool. Do you want to add anything to that about lab testing, Alex?
Actually, I think the peace of mind is obviously the primary component there, that you can trust that there's, you know, no residual solvents or adulterants in your products. And beyond that, though, I think that's, you know, as you progress with finding, you know, your regimen, it's really helpful to have those lab test results, because you can see, you know, the percentage of terpenes versus the percentage of certain cannabinoids. So if one product, like, wow, that works so well, you know, then you can go look at the lab report and you can look at the dominant terpenes, or maybe there's fewer terpenes in this strain, and it's more about the different cannabinoids that helped you better. So it's really helpful to kind of find out what works and what doesn't, and move towards, you know, those products that are more right for you quicker. Aside from just having the peace of mind that's, you know, these are 100% pure products.
Awesome. Where we're kind of at this, well, I don't know if it's a changing point. I just think that they promised that it was going to get, the pandemic was going to hit us a bit harder coming towards winter. I just want to kind of go over the patient experience. I know you said virtual consultations, but can you walk us a little bit through the Trulieve process of what the expectation is of a patient getting started to come to your dispensaries?
Yeah, definitely. So I'd say, you know, once a patient sees their clinic or physician, I mean, even while they're waiting to get approved, they can schedule these virtual consultations. They can come to a Trulieve location and get information, get educational material if they couldn't obtain it from their clinic as well. Now, once they're approved as a patient, then of course they can shop at our store. They don't need to get the physical card before they're able to come into the store. As long as they have their approval email or their registry doesn't have the lock on it anymore, then they can come in and they can shop and they can purchase from us. And of course, you know, we're always there to help with any questions or concerns or assist in any way that we can.
And so are masks required and things of that nature if they decide to come in?
Absolutely. We are still under the pretty much full pandemic measures, reduced seating in the lobbies. Masks are required upon entry. We do have masks, though, you know, boxes of them at the stores unless we happen to run out that day or something. So even if you don't have a mask, we should be able to provide patients with one. Also, given certain, you know, spacing restrictions, we do shut down certain registers, so we don't have all of them open. We don't have the lobby packed with people. We also have a waiting system where we can allow people to come up, sign in, and then they can go wait in their car, and then we text them when, you know, it's almost time for them to come up. So we don't, again, have people crowded around the entrance or crowding in the waiting room. They can just go wait in the comfort of their car and then just come in when it's, you know, just about time for them to go in and start, you know, making their purchase.
Awesome. Nicole, why don't you share a little bit about kind of how Medwell bridges that gap? So kind of our offices and how we're handling COVID and appointments.
Sure. So, I mean, of course, none of us expected, 2020 to turn out the way it has. I think
we're in the final countdown, though.
Yeah. And so obviously we, under the same Trulieve, we follow all the guidelines, limited contact with each other, all spaces. Seats 6 to 12 feet apart. We do limit the amount of patients in at a time. Our telehealth option is exploding for our renewal patients because obviously if they don't need to come into the office, they don't have to. But we are all masked, and we ask our patients to wear masks as well when they come in. So we are very, very strict on COVID and following and getting next year, hopefully, to get back to normal.
Very nice. And as we kind of start to wrap up, let's talk a little bit about the discounts. I know that you guys offer some discounts to patients coming in, and Medwell does as well. So let's talk a little bit about those discounts.
Sure. Yeah, we have some fantastic discounts. Obviously, you know, a lot of other or competitors do as well, but we offer 15% off your first time purchase. We offer $75 on any purchase $150 or more after that first time, just to kind of offset that cost that you pay to the state. We also do that every year that you renew with the state. We have a 20% off all purchases for veterans. We have a great TruVet program run by our veteran liaison, Stephen Hill. You can check out our Facebook page for our TruVet Facebook page as well. We really try to not only engage with the veteran community, but be able to provide educational seminars, product explanations, and connections with local doctors, et cetera. So if you check out our website, it's going to have a bunch of that great information packed full. Yeah.
Awesome.
And basically, Jacody and I have traveled back and forth and past each other many a time. So speaking of the veterans, as you know, we always certify 100% disabled veterans for free. That's been Medwell since day one, 6 years ago, and we continue that here in Florida. So if you are a disabled vet, feel free to contact us and we'll take extra good care of you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I did leave out a couple of discounts. We have a new birthday discount. So in the month of your birthday, you can get 25% off one purchase, which
bonus.
is cool. Yeah, that one's new. We have a rewards program too. So every $1 you spend, you get 1 point. Every 500 points, you can apply that for 10% off. I think I'm missing one of them.
Well, while you think of that, Jacody, I will go back to pandemic measures and deliveries. So also with the start of the pandemic, we did wipe out delivery fees for anyone 65 and older, those more at risk for COVID. And we also recently wiped out delivery fees for orders over $200 as well. So our delivery fee is just $15. We deliver next day in most cases, anywhere across the state, 7 days a week. And the fee is $15, like I said, but if you get over $200 or you're 65 or older, it's wiped out and free of charge. Also mentioning the return policy, if say you make a purchase through a delivery and you do need a return, we can come back out to you and make that return with no additional fee as well. So just more convenience factors and safety factors. Absolutely.
Very good.
Well, thank you so much, guys. This was really great. Tons of great information. I learned so much. Love the appetite suppressant terpene, thinking about that. For all of our friends watching, please, if you're catching the replay, feel free to leave a question. We will absolutely get back to you. You can visit trulieve.com and for all of your product and terpene needs, and as well as the exchange program, which I love that. And for your medical marijuana certifications, please do visit us at medwellhealth.net. We're really excited once again to have Medwell Unscripted Live, Florida style, with you. Wishing everybody a happy Thanksgiving, and thank you for watching. Everybody have a great day.
Thank you. Happy holidays, guys.